Chapter 22. Ryan. I was planning to drive over and see Ash on Saturday night, but John needed the car. I got a bit pissed off. "You didn't tell me," John interrupted. "Yeah, well, your mum and I have got a life too, mate." We eyeballed each other. It was the first real aggro between us since... "Sorry," I said. John relaxed at the same moment and grinned. "No worries." "Hey, you're getting back to being a regular teenager, eh?" Mum came in then. "What are you two sniggering about?" "Nothing," John winked at me. "Just boys talk." Mum rolled her eyes. I wouldn't have needed the car anyway. Ash's mother said he was round at Mel's. Don't blame him. I wondered if Brittany was there too. Actually, what did Brittany do on Saturday nights? Stayed home and sharpened her fangs, probably. I half thought about ringing Vince. Like I said, any friend. But he and his old man would probably be away. His old man has women all over the place. I felt down. I've sort of dropped out, so far as most of my mates are concerned. I did some study on a Saturday night for the exams we've got coming up. Tomorrow looks pretty flat too. I'm not going to see Tara. Her mother says heaps of visitors come on Sunday, and Tara gets tired. Suppose she had a social life too, till I messed it up. I kept remembering the smile she gave me on Wednesday. Like I said about Ash and Mel, I always hoped a girl would smile at me, but now I half wish it never happened. Tara. Physio twice every day. I can get from bed to my wheelchair easily now, though my left leg still wobbles. But I had a shock yesterday when I tried to write a note to Auntie Tamsin and... Jared? No. Jacob! Yay! My writing jerked and jumped all over the place. The page looked like I'd written it on a trampoline. A couple of little kids who've been in Watson House long-term wheeled themselves in today to see all my stuffed toys. One fell off her father's farm bike and broke her back. One had cerebral palsy and wears a crash helmet all the time because he can't stop his head banging against things. I howled after they'd been. Sunday lunchtime, I ate some jelly by myself. I took it slowly and didn't drop a single spoonful. I even tried holding the spoon in my left hand. It shook quite a lot, and a couple of times I thought I was going to stick the jelly in my ear, but I managed. I wanted to be back at school. I missed my friends and the netball team, and I've started worrying about falling behind in my subjects. I really want to do art design next year. If the accident has fouled me up big time, most times I don't think about it. But today I sat gripping the arm of my wheelchair with my right hand mostly, and I felt so bloody wild. I shook them and shook them. "What's this?" asked Brooke, who'd come in without my noticing. "You trying to get lift off?" Mum was here all Sunday morning. Dad came for part of the afternoon. So did Mel and Britt. Wondered when I'd be able to go down to Southside Plaza with them, hit the shops and check on any hot guys. I told them about Ryan coming, but they didn't say much. I wondered if Mel fancies him. Mel's always dumping her boyfriends. Pity if she dumps Josh. No, it's Ash. Actually, I think Britt fancies him. Complicated, eh? They were talking about taking me to watch the last netball game at the end of next week. We were talking about it. I can say heaps now, though my voice still packs up sometimes. I said, "Hope I can see it. Things get blurry a lot." Mel started. "It'll get But Britt interrupted. "Reckon you need glasses." I blinked. I stared. Shit. I realised. That's why things look blurry. That's why I missed passes at netball. There wasn't any brain damage after all. I could have hugged Britt. Instead, I said, "Me? Wear glasses? No way." Ryan. On Sunday, Greg really put me through it at TKD. I spent the first part coaching the juniors, then I did 15 minutes solid punch bag work. Lunge punches and blocks, side kicks that made me think my legs were going to fall off, axe kicks that made me know they had. He's never said anything about the family group conference. I didn't expect him to. When you do TKD, you focus on nothing else. But I felt he was reminding me. Nearly 10 weeks since the accident, and sometimes I still think I'll never feel safe again. Because about 5 minutes before we finished, someone came into the hall. I glanced across and my heart lurched. It was the Chinese guy, Zemin. Straight away, I knew something had happened with Tara. But he just sat down against the wall and watched. He was talking to Greg when I left. He nodded at me and said, "Good day, Lion." After a weird couple of seconds, I realised he was saying my name. I grinned half the way home, out of relief, mainly. We're going away at the start of the holidays. John's mate Pure's uncle, got it, has a place by the sea we can have for a week. John and Mum are really up for it. Don't know how I feel. It'll mess up seeing Tara. Geez, what am I saying? The patient was now walking up to 10 metres with a frame. The ophthalmologist confirmed she had a slight myopia and should begin wearing glasses or contact lenses when her eyes can make fine movements. It is pleasing that concerns about her vision having been affected by the accident are now over. Her neurosurgeon agreed that the outlook was increasingly favourable, though her short-term memory loss could mean problems with work, school, reading, etc. The patient could now talk almost normally, though her voice still sounded rather expressionless. She may be able to spend some time at home over Christmas. Tara. So I'm going to get contact lenses sometime, and maybe geeky glasses first. Britt should be a doctor. I won't have any excuse if I drop passes from now on. On Sunday afternoon before tea, I sat out on the side veranda and looked at the basketball hoop on that blurry tree. I'll throw a ball through that before I leave Watson House. I've made my mind up. I still can't do some things. If I stand with my eyes shut, I start to lose my balance. Hell, I said to Brooke. I thought it was only guys who were unbalanced. But though I made jokes about it, I'm really scared of falling. What'll happen if I hit my head again? Geez, I could end up dribbling and wearing nappies for the rest of my life. Brooke moved the big mirror so I could watch myself walking, staggering, along, holding onto a rail above my head, looking like something that's just come down out of the trees. A couple of mornings she even played cards with me. I had to shuffle and deal and remember which cards I put down. I beat her once. I cheated. I'm going home for 2 days at Christmas. Awesome! I told Mel and Britt when they came on Sunday. Ash wasn't there. Wonder why. When's Ryan coming next? Mel wanted to know. Yeah, she fancies him all right. Shit. I'm not jealous, am I? Britt started to say something, then she stopped. Britt's always hard on guys. Ryan. Monday and Tuesday, we had some of our final school exams. I'm going to do okay. I know that sounds up myself, but I've worked really hard. I want to do media studies next year. Like I say, I'm getting quite good at writing. On Tuesday night at TKD, we had a new instructor for part of the time, Zemin. Turns out he was a Tai Chi teacher back in China. That's the martial art where you practice moving really slowly and focus on holding your body in exactly the right position. Sounds simple, but it's not. My back and shoulder muscles all ached afterwards. I walked home feeling so awake. It's the only way I can describe it. I never ever want anything like the accident to happen again. But I've learned things. Another exam on Wednesday. Before tea, I drove across to Watson House. Tara was waiting in her wheelchair, wearing shorts and a t-shirt with rockets on it. I wheeled her along to the physio room while she told me how she's getting contact lenses sometime and how she's going home over Christmas. Her voice sounded sort of flat some of the time, but you could tell she was really excited. Brooke wanted us to practice throwing and catching a soft plastic ball so Tara could work on her hand-eye coordination and balance. Don't overdo it, she said. Tara stood with her back to the wall. I threw gentle lobs to her and she caught about half of them. Her own throws were like little kids' ones, and I could see she was annoyed that she couldn't do them harder. I made a big act of swooping and bending to catch them. I think the Tai Chi helped. After about 5 minutes, her legs got tired and she sat on a chair while we carried on throwing. I liked watching her concentrate as she caught and threw. She kept biting her bottom lip. It was a nice soft lip. Another nurse stuck her head through the doorway. Phone, Brooke. Tara's nurse hesitated, said, "Keep an eye on her, Ryan," and hurried out. Tara sent me back a couple of throws, then I tossed her a harder one. She caught it and grinned. She tossed it back somewhere near me, and I made another big deal out of catching it. I lobbed the ball back. It bounced off her hands. She grabbed sideways for it, lurched, and fell from the chair. For a second, it was the accident all over again. Time stopped. The brown eyes stretched wide. Then she toppled towards the floor. She was going to smack her head on the floor. She was going to be wrecked. Somehow I got to her. I flew across the space between us and grabbed her. Her hips thudded onto the floor, but I held her head and shoulders clear. We crouched there. She stared up at me, and I knew my own mouth and eyes were wide with shock. Then an expression I'd never seen before grew across her face, and I understood what had happened. Tara. It was cool sitting in the chair tossing the ball between us. It gave me a chance to keep looking at him. He's quite skinny, but he's got nice hands. He looks like he's thinking a lot of the time. I liked the way he was giving me easy throws without making it obvious. My arms and shoulders were starting to feel shaky, but I didn't want to stop. I sent him a useless throw. He caught it and lobbed it back. I reached for it, but I stuffed it up like at netball, and it bounced off my hands. I twisted after it, and next minute, I was falling. Total fear ripped through me. My head. Then Ryan dived. I put one hand partway down and slowed myself, and he got his arms around me. His face was just above mine. I saw his eyes and the fear in them. Time split apart. A picture from the past came spinning up, and I knew he was the driver.